So it looks like there could be some more chaos on the cards. It's been a great year so far for Bitcoin. At the start of the year, Bitcoin was trading around $16,000, and recently, within the last week, it was up to $36,000. And the narrative to go along with the price of Bitcoin increasing has been ETF news, which maybe it is the right narrative, maybe it isn't. To be honest, me personally, I'm not buying it. And I seem to be one of the only crypto people that seems to not be too fussed about the ETF. I think maybe it's going to give too much power and control to the institutions that Bitcoin is supposed to be escaping. Maybe that's why I don't find the ETF narrative exciting. The ETF is a benefit in some way because a spot Bitcoin ETF means that that ETF needs to hold the underlying asset. So that means that that institution that is facilitating the ETF, they need to go out there and buy Bitcoin to hold in spot for that ETF. Now, there is already ETFs currently live in the US, but those are futures ETFs. And a futures ETF means that you're essentially gambling on the price of Bitcoin. So it's like a contract on the price of Bitcoin. So if you buy into that ETF, you don't buy into Bitcoin directly. You buy into a contract or the price of Bitcoin. The futures ETFs don't actually hold any Bitcoin, but a spot Bitcoin ETF, they need to hold the Bitcoin physically. And this is why the SEC have been denying it for so long, because if a Bitcoin spot ETF is to be approved, that means that all of these institutions out there, they need to go out and buy Bitcoin. And what happens when there is a sudden demand in Bitcoin and everyone goes to buy Bitcoin? The prices go up. So that is why the SEC have been denying it for years. So the narrative that's surrounding the Bitcoin price increase over this year has been mainly on ETF news. But to be honest, in my opinion, I think it's just standard stuff. Bitcoin has been in a bear market for 2 years. It's hit its bottom of around 15.5K, and now it's on its way back up. The halving is less than 6 months away. I think it's just standard procedure, personally. But if an ETF is the narrative that people want to go with, cool. But the title of this video, Your Money Isn't Safe, and that isn't in Bitcoin, that is in the banks. We're seeing more and more whispers, rumours swirling around of more banking collapses. And if you're a follower of this channel, you would have seen a video I put out in April of this year when Silicon Valley Bank, there was other banks around the world that collapsed in the United States. Billions was lost. And what happened during that time? Bitcoin seen a massive influx. Bitcoin at the time of the banking collapses was trading around $20,000. And over the course of the week of these banking collapses, it went to $26,000. It's seen a massive inflow. And the reason I believe that Bitcoin's seen a massive inflow is safety. So let's say you are a wealthy individual and you've got $1 million in the bank. You feel like it's safe, but it's not, because that bank can collapse, like we've seen time and time and time again. We've even seen it here in the UK, banks just collapsing and then people lose all the money that was in that bank. Now, I know that you do get insurance for these banks. We'll insure you up to $80,000. Oh, great. But what about the rest of the other $900,000? What happens with that? That just gets lost forever. So your money is lost. So if you've got $1 million in the bank, that isn't safe. It is not safe in the bank, because that bank can disappear tomorrow and you're left with zero. So my personal belief is that when these banks were collapsing all around the world, wealthy individuals with money, where do they take that $1 million and where do they go put it? There isn't very many places. Do you go put it into a property? That could be an idea, but it's not the most liquid asset. It's not as liquid as having money in a bank. They could go buy gold. Again, it's not the most liquid. They could buy shares of gold or they could buy physical gold, but storing $1 million worth of gold would be a bit of a job in its own, and it's not very liquid, which leaves us with one of the only other options, and one of the only other options that's liquid is Bitcoin. So through the grapevine, there's more murmurs of more banking collapses, more banking crisis. In April, we've seen banking collapse, Bitcoin pump. In my opinion, we could be on the verge of that happening again. History repeating one more time. people getting scared when banks start collapsing and they flock to Bitcoin as a safety play. So that is what I will be looking out for. That's what I believe the narrative is. That's what I believe the true narrative is. I don't believe in the Bitcoin ETF. I think that is easily manipulated. The Bitcoin ETF, the US government can use this narrative to manipulate the price of Bitcoin. That's what I believe is happening. They publish that the ETF's been approved, Bitcoin pumps, then they publish the next day that it's getting denied and then it drops. It's an easy way for them to manipulate it and make some profit on both sides of Bitcoin going up and down. But I believe the true underlying fundamental factor in the price of Bitcoin increasing over this year is due to a safety play. People aren't confident in their own governments. They aren't confident in the landscape of the world. Bitcoin is this safety play. And I do believe and I hope that that is the narrative that plays out over the next bull run is a safety play, because what is as safe as Bitcoin? I don't know. Can you let me know? Let me know in the comments where you would, if you had $1 million right now in a bank, but you were hearing that bank is going to go bust, you're taking that money out of the bank immediately, but where are you putting it? Because you can't go take it out in cash. That is a bank run, essentially. That's what's happening right now. We are seeing bank runs across the world. You're seeing banks putting limits on how much cash you can remove. So yeah, you've got $1 million in the bank. You hear that that bank is going bust really soon. You try and take your money out or transfer it. Where are you putting it? In another bank. Oh, and that bank might go bust as well. Where are you putting your $1 million? That is the $1 million question. And I believe that a lot of smart people, a lot of people that are open-minded, they choose to go and put it into Bitcoin because there is no really other options. So that is what I'll be looking for over the next few weeks. That is the narrative I'll be looking for. And yeah, let's see how this plays out. But let me know down below what you think we're going to see over the next course of this month, this few weeks. And yeah, let's see what happens. We will be back on the channel to update you on this. Stay safe out there, everybody. It is a dangerous game. I'm not a financial advisor, I must say, because the FCA tells me to. Don't take what I say as gospel. What do I know? I'm just a guy on the internet. Don't take any of my advice. It's just educational purposes, entertainment purposes only. Do what you need to do. Follow whatever your government tells you to do because they know best. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.